Hello, and welcome to part 2 of my Undead monster tier list. I'm ranking the Undead monsters of D&D on a scale from D tier to S tier. Go check out part 1 if you haven't seen it already. I would be eternally, undyingly grateful. First up, the Ghost Dragon. This is what it says on the tin. A dragon that is a ghost and they get the best of both worlds. The intelligence and physical might of a dragon with the ethereal movement and abilities of a ghost. They can't possess people, unfortunate, being possessed by a dragon spirit would be so cool, but their breath attacks deal cold damage, cause fear and paralysis to their targets. That's a lot.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Their design is kind of lazy? It's a transparent, foggy dragon, and it's green. It's not like a ghostly ethereal green either, it's like a fart green. I'll put this in C tier. The Hollow Dragon. A metallic dragon that has accepted undeath to fulfill an oath. Their scaly hides, hollowed out and filled with radiant energy that can take on the appearance of lightning, mist, or fire, making them look like the Ghost Rider of dragons. They're pretty strong at CR 18, but their special abilities leave something to be desired. Still, their minimal lore does have good potential as a quest, and I really love their design, so I'll put them in B tier. Lich. We've had dragon liches, half liches, wannabe liches, could've been liches, should've been liches. This monster's a lich, that guy's a lich.
Why, I'm Squidward.
What kind of fool do you take me for? He's Squidward, you're Squidward, I'm Squidward! Are there any other Squidwards I should know about?
Meow.
I'm out of here.
Oh right, the actual Lich. The penultimate spellcaster and one of the most well-known D&D baddies. A CR of 21, turn resistance, 18th level spellcaster with a spell save DC of 20, a paralyzing pimp slap, the ability to rise again after being defeated so long as its phylactery remains intact. What can I say? These guys are an easy S tier undead. Mummies. Your average mummy is like a more powerful zombie that's well-dressed and wears deodorant. Their punches can infect you with mummy rot, a really bad disease/curse, and they can paralyze you with their angry eyes. Now, your average mummy is just a bandaged goober who defends a tomb, but your mummy lord is a man with a plan. They've got ambition and intelligence. They have access to powerful cleric spells. They can turn into sand and beetles like in the movies. Mummies go in B tier, and mummy lords go in S tier. Beware what lies in the tombs of the desert. The Nightwalker. When a mortal being attempts to tap into the negative energy plane and gets sucked in, it is replaced by an entity called a Nightwalker. A truly terrifying undead. Its stat block is beefy, with tons of resistances, a powerful damaging aura, max HP reduction, always a killer, and any creature killed by a Nightwalker suffers permadeath. No resurrections allowed except via a wish spell. These guys just want to kill everything around them, again falling into that undead pitfall. So it's not much of a big thinker, but it's more like an unstoppable, terrifying force of nature and death that can constantly be hunting the party down. I'm showing a little bias here, but I think it belongs in S tier. The Revenant. Imagine that bear scene from Revenant, except the bear is an undead guy, and you are Leonardo DiCaprio. A Revenant is a dead guy who came back to life by being really angry at someone who killed them when they were still alive. They are the unstoppable type of undead, meaning if you destroy their body, they'll just come back later. It has regeneration, always knows where to find its prey, and has a paralyzing glare. At CR 5, it's not the strongest undead out there, but it's very fun and full of story. I'll put them in A tier. The Shadow. You know how Peter Pan's shadow moved of its own free will? Imagine that, except it could touch you and wanted to kill you. Like, really wanted to kill you. But they can drain your strength stat all the way to 0 if you're not careful. I'll put them in B tier. The Skull Lord. These undead are kings ruling over vast swaths of the Shadowfell. But they're not just one being. They are 3 individuals in one skeletal body that are constantly plotting against one another. Imagine a 3-headed Skeletor, except each of the heads hates the other 2, and you've got a pretty good idea of what's going on here. These guys are the summoner type of bad guy. They can create, control, and buff any undead within their radius. They have a good spell list as well. I'll put them in A tier. The Spawn of Caius. A zombie made of worms. Horrific. The spawn of Caius are swarms of undead worms that kill people and then take control of their bodies, representing the desires of Orcus to replace all life with undeath in the worst way possible. Also, Caius was a guy who was really into Orcus, I guess, and that's where the name comes from. The concept literally makes my skin crawl, and the art is once again metal. Their ability, Burrowing Worm, is something straight out of a horror movie. Still, they suffer again from a lack of personality, so I'm gonna put them in B tier. The Spectre. Imagine a ghost that is denied an afterlife and is so angry that they kill every living thing around them. You'd think this would make their CR higher than normal ghost, but it's actually lower for some reason. And they don't get cool possession abilities either. There is a variant specter known as a poltergeist that can use telekinesis, and while ghostly undead are typically more interesting fights than zombies and skeletons, it's still lacking anything special. I'll put them in C tier. Vampires. Asterian simps of the world, rise up, your time is now. Vampires are probably one of the most famous monsters of all time, not just among the undead. Undead spirits or walking corpses that feed on the lifeblood of the living. They show up in stories across the globe, so of course, they are some of the best undead in D&D. There are 3 kinds: the vampire spawn, the vampire lord, and the vampire nightbringer. The best thing about vampires is that they remain individuals. They are not just shambling corpses that attack at random or follow a necromancer's orders. They are fully independent and cognizant, maintaining their own memories and ambitions after they've died. They can even learn magic or swordsmanship. They can pass off as a normal, definitely not undead person.
EV. Emotional vamp. Oh, hell.
This makes for some very potent and insidious storytelling. Vampire spawns are the lowest tier. These are the ones who were turned by being bitten by another vampire. Unlike when they were alive, they are stronger, faster, and tougher, and they get to live forever. They can regenerate, they have resistance to non-magical weapons, they can crawl on walls like Spider-Man, but they don't get any of the really cool vampire powers, like shapeshifting or mind control. They are also puppets, enthralled to the will of their master, the Vampire Lord. Now these guys are the Count Orlocks of D&D. They can do everything the Spawn can do and more. They can shapeshift, charm enemies with their gaze, turn into bats and mist. They can summon wolves and rats to do their bidding, and when they die, they return to their coffin for a little nap and then rise again, ready to wreak revenge. Monsters that can come back from death with a fully intact memory of their previous encounter is really dangerous and makes for good reoccurring villains. Funny how a lot of the monsters we've talked about in this video can do that. Now there is one final vampire to talk about, the Nightbringer. These guys are vamps suffused with negative energies that feed directly on life force.
I think the new girl is an emotional vampire. They're an advanced form of energy vampire. But instead of frustrating people around them for energy, they feed off of pity.
They can also manipulate shadows to fight with and disappear. The Nightbringers are cool, but they fall somewhere between the Spawn and the Lords for me, and I feel that may have been what they were going for when making this monster. There's a reason everyone likes vampires, and I'm no exception. I'll put the Spawn and the Nightbringer vampires in A tier, and the Vampire Lords in S tier. S for Strahd. The Wight. Wights are what happens when you take a Draugr from Skyrim and give it some necromancy powers. Intelligent undead who can fight just as well as the living and who can turn anyone they kill into zombies, but only 12 times. At CR3, they're only a threat to the lower level parties, but ignore them and suddenly you're outnumbered, bogged down by zombies while the Wight goes in for the kill. I'm gonna put them in A tier, cause undead that make more undead actively or passively are sadly kinda rare. Will-o-wisp. There are stories of people being led to their demise, lost forever in the wilderness because they followed a small, ethereal light that whispered to them of a way out. Pro tip: never follow the lights, especially in a forest. Will-o-wisps are undead, but they're not ghosts or spirits. They're not even really creatures. More like natural undead phenomena that exist solely to consume life, whatever that means. These guys are pretty weak overall, but perfect as plot devices, leading the party astray, harassing them in a dungeon, or even accidentally showing them the lair of a dragon. You can have fun with these guys, but don't center a whole adventure around them. They are the butter on a steak and potato dinner. Flavorful, but not filling. I'll put them in C tier. The Wraith. We're almost there. Now I feel like a zombie. The Wraith is an evil spirit made of darkness and hatred, like that one guy who's worked the night shift for way too long. They desire only to, say it with me now, spread death to all living things. While their lore is very basic, their stats are fun. They can drain a creature's constitution, which is kinda like damaging you twice because your max HP is determined by your constitution modifier. And if they kill a creature with this, it rises as a specter, which can also drain the life out of you. There's no limits to this. A single Wraith can turn an entire city into angry ghosts if it's let loose. That is awesome. I'll put them in A tier. And that's a wrap on our first monster tier list. Thank you to my patrons and Discord members for suggesting this. I had a lot of fun. Leave a comment if you guys want to see more videos like this. Thanks to my patrons again for all you do. I greatly appreciate it. You have my undying gratitude, you could say. You can join them and get to see all of my videos early and ad-free. Even if you're not a patron, thank you so much for watching. Hit those funny little buttons down below to raise my spirits, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!